You know, time marches on.
Former Secretary of State Ralph Monroe,
And it belongs to the people, not to me.
never thought he'd be able to make this special delivery.
Where is the Secretary of State?
Monroe returned to the office he held from 1981 to 2001 with something from the state's 100th anniversary. As part of the 1989 celebration, the state sold gold-plated commemorative rifles and handguns, and one of those revolvers was kept as part of a display in the Secretary of State's office on a historic desk. A couple of weeks later, it was stolen.
So there it is. So,
Oh my goodness.
Ruger 44.
Oh, it's so heavy.
Secretary Monroe reported the gun as stolen, and for the next 30 years, he didn't think much of it until it turned up at a Lacey pawn shop last week.
People need to actually photograph their valuables, write down the serial numbers, put it someplace safe.
Bruce Dobbs says they estimated the gun was worth as much as $10,000. But when a customer tried buying it, state law triggered a background check.
I don't think I've ever returned something that's been gone for that long.
Olympia records clerk Gabriel Ramsey ran the serial number and then contacted police, who reached out to the original victim, Ralph Monroe.
I thought, I'll never see it. You know, I even was at a gun show one time and looked around, you know, pistols, and well, maybe I'd see it. And, nah.
Police think the person who stole the gun is dead, so no one's being charged. As for the piece of history's future, the current Secretary of State says the revolver and the story behind it need to be celebrated.
Being the person who's responsible for the state's history and the archives, it's an honor to be able to keep this here for, you know, the next couple of generations to come.
Drew Mikkelsen, King 5 News.